Interesting. What is up? What is up, guys? It's Mike Frank with Berkshire Hathaway, Frank Oliver and Company, coming to you today with Andrea.
Good morning.
What's going on?
Hey.
Anyway, so if you guys haven't been paying attention, we've been setting up for a 3-part mini-series talking a little bit about real estate, lending, and title. Kind of wanted to break that down a little bit. A lot of people ask questions, and quite frankly, it's surprising how many first-time home buyers don't understand the difference.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, right?
I mean, I can't argue with that. But the part that's confusing to me is I feel like I talk to people for a week or 2 or 3, and we might have 6 or 7 conversations, including like a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, what part do you do? And I'm like, what?
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, they're just trying to make sense of it all. And it's just so much information. It's kind of like the first day of school, you know? Like you don't really remember anything. You're just like there.
I do know.
You're like, I'm just processing.
I do know. I also know that it seems a little behind, but people don't care to learn. No offense. So what we end up seeing is people that just kind of like come into the industry because they know they're supposed to buy a house, or maybe it's the way that they've been told to like raise equity or whatever that might be, but they don't really like know.
Right.
And I don't know that they want to. It's kind of weird. Kind of a weird thing to say.
I mean, I think everyone makes an effort to, but I think at the end of the day, it's so much information that only so much of it you can really understand and grasp and take
that's
throughout the entire
true.
Process.
That's also
so
true.
That's why it's important to know who you trust.
So then,
who you work with.
So then, if you had to tell somebody right now, what does a realtor do during the transaction? Like, if a buyer said to you, Andrea, what are you going to do for me during the transaction? What would you say?
I would probably say I'm your go-to person that you would talk to. I'm the one that's going to provide you those resources, making sure that whoever you work with, that they have your best interest in mind.
That's what I said, because I think to myself, like, I don't want to be cliche, but I kind of think like real estate agent is kind of like your home buying concierge.
Right.
It is super cliche. Like as I say it, I'm like, bleh.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, we're not selling houses. I mean, you can't really force someone to buy a house. It's walking them through the process and making them feel comfortable and being there for them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I honestly don't think anybody should ever sell anything. Yeah. I really feel like when you sell something, it just like grinds at people.
Yeah.
They just don't like it. Even if they buy it, they're like disgusted with the whole thing.
Yeah.
So they don't go back. They don't buy that car from that dealership again, or they get sour taste to that brand or that style, or maybe they don't even want to go to that store or that, destination because they just feel so yucky.
Yeah.
Yucky.
I feel like if you were to consider us salespeople, if anything, we're pretty much selling ourselves. Like we're selling the experience, we're selling what we provide differently comparatively to other real estate agents. It's just, we sell our vibe.
We sell our vibe. Our vibe is
like,
our tribe.
If you vibe with us, then that's going to speak for itself, and you're going to want to come back.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really important things that come from an agent. I think that a lot of people are looking for an agent that's going to like send me comps and pull this and tell me what house to buy, and I'm like, that's just not me. I've even told people, like, quite frankly, if that's what you're looking for, like, I'm not the realtor for you.
Right.
Because I don't want to show you what house to buy. I want to give you the resources to make the decision. I want you to rely on me to help you get there.
Yeah.
And the analogy that I always say, and I love you, Dad, but like attorneys aren't there to set you up on a first date. They're there to represent you in divorce.
Right.
That sounds terrible.
That sounds terrible.
But I mean, it's true. Like an attorney's not there to set you up, but they're certainly there to protect you when you make a mistake. Maybe that's really aggressive. Sorry to those divorced people out there.
Maybe it's not a mistake,
I mean,
divorce
I don't know.
Can be for the best.
I don't know. But in my mind, I think real estate as an asset, and it's an equity that we have to protect. And your real estate agent should be doing that for you. Yeah. And so a way that I do that is we might be at a property and you might say, oh my God, I love it. And I might say to you, hey, I understand that. And I see that it has 3 bedrooms, but one of those bedrooms is on the main level. you mentioned to me that you wanted to be close to your kids. So having 3 bedrooms not on the same level, is that something that you're okay with?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh my God, I'm so glad, let's write up the contract right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty much just like going with the flow. But I feel like it is important to, because you go on so many showings, it's like kind of dictating like, hey, you said this last time about this other property. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and now you're discarding that. So just want to make sure that we understand what you're saying is,
Right.
you know, going hand in hand with what you said last time.
Right. And it kind of follows the same suit with, you know, pre-approval and mortgaging process and so on. It's my favorite line to tell somebody that like, I'm not going to oversell you. So when you call me and tell me that there's this great house and it's 347,000 and it's blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to go, yeah, I get it. And it's under 350 and I'm with you because that was your budget. But when we break down the monthly expenses, this one has a HOA fee that's $67 a month that actually puts you over your comfortability. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it's fine. And I'm like, all right, well, as long as you know.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to come back on me and be like, you didn't tell me.
Yeah. And I feel like, honestly, that's one of the biggest things that I learned to understand when going on showings when I was shadowing you, kind of not getting like too excited to you know, if your client is excited.
Oh yeah.
It's okay to have a balance. Like, oh my God, this is perfect. This is
Like,
perfect. I want it.
Where are we going with this conversation?
Yeah.
Yikes.
No, and they would be, you know, they're so happy and they're like, whatever we need to do, you know. But it's like in reality, you have to be like, okay, like I'm really glad you like it.
Yeah.
You know, and not take it for, you know, like if you want to go to the next steps, we can
Right.
talk about that and move forward. But
And that's something else, like next steps, right? People wonder, what does a realtor do? Well, they walk you through. Like, it sounds rhetorical, but
Yeah.
like, I don't know. People don't know how to make an offer. They're like, okay, so what do we do? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's funny. Let's help you understand.
yeah, I mean, it's called a buying process. At the end of the day, it's a process. So there's multiple steps,
Right.
you know.
So I think the biggest thing that a good realtor does is the construction of an offer. It's more important than like negotiation. It's more important than the property. It's more important than the comps. It's more important than anything. Because in my mind, the construction of an offer is the thing that helps you accomplish your goal. Like an example, if a buyer is limited on cash, we're going to ask for closing costs paid for by the seller. That's an obvious one. But what if we were able to put the buyer in a position to utilize a grant program or a down payment assistance program? It's all part of how we're going to construct the offer.
Yeah.
Well, what if we put them in a grant program, got them some seller paid closing cost help, and negotiated really, really well for that one thing that they would love, but they're not focused on.
Right.
The construction of the offer is what put us in that position to negotiate for that item. If we're negotiating for the closing cost help because that's what the buyer needs, I don't know, that doesn't seem valuable to me.
Useful.
But putting it in the offer and incorporating the documents and making sure that our documents are clean and square and everything is taken care of, I feel like is so important. I don't know. I struggle with like, what's the value of a real estate agent? Because I really don't think that we do anything. So for all of you that are watching out there, they're like, I could do it myself. You can, but go look at the statistics that show you that you overpay and undersell and all the other good things. But I think that a good agent is going to structure the offer in a way that makes a lot of sense for the buyer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's why it's nice that we have John, because he takes part, you know, he handles the hard part, which is constructing, making sure all the forms are there, making sure all the things are the disclosures are there, everything that we need for that specific property, you know, and constructing it in a very well, clean written offer. But we are,
He can be here on our.
Oh my
there
goodness.
You go.
Oh, I love this.
He refused to be on the podcast today. So here he is.
Oh my God. It looks like he would, if I saw him on the, I don't even know, playing basketball, I'd be like, he knows what he's doing. It's the hat.
Yeah.
It's the
No,
Jordan
but
hat.
I do agree. I think that John does a great job of helping us kind of like constructing that offer, because sometimes even in the moment, I put things down and I'm like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And then John will review it and then he goes, Mike, this seems weird or odd or different. Or maybe the listing agent's asking for something unique and he'll say, hey, like a second set of eyes here.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's like, oh, hey, we had to change this for you, Mr. Buyer, seller, whatever, because this was an issue. Like, I don't know, I guess avoiding a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. But I feel like him being there allows us to kind of dive deeper into what's important with our clients and allows us to focus in on those kind of things and, let us build more rapport in that area.
Yeah. Something that I'm working on myself because, I mean, there's never a time like the present to continue to grow, but I noticed that with more and more and more support, like as we leveled up the support that the team offered, the less and less and less I had to talk to the client. And that was great, right? Like a super leverage point for anybody that's a real estate agent looking for a team. It's a leverage point that's tremendous. The problem is that it almost like took away my responsibility of communicating with the client. So then I had to put emphasis on those rapport building opportunities. And I love that part. Like that's my favorite part.
Yeah, exactly.
It was probably 6 months or 9 months of me like kind of neglecting it. And then I came back, I was like, damn, I missed that.
Yeah.
So now I'm deeper in my relationships with my clients because I get to go like, hey, did you see the appraisal came in? And they're like, yeah, we already saw. I'm like, that's awesome. And here's what that means for you. And they're like, well, wait, what do you mean? And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, it's going to be good for your mortgage. But also, here's what we can do in the future. This is what the appraiser saw. This is where we think we could build value.
Right.
And that's really where we bring a lot of value is in the interpretation of the data.
Yeah.
Not just see attached appraisal report.
Yeah.
Good things. It came in supporting the sales price.
Yeah. It's kind of like having a class, like having homework, you do your homework, but then coming back the next day, going over it with your teacher, making sure you understand, learning from it.
In this scenario, I guess your
scenario.
client becomes the teacher?
No, you're the teacher.
I'm the teacher?
Your client gets the,
yeah, I get you.
They get the homework.
Okay.
They come back the next day. They're
I'm
like,
with
I did it. And they're like, okay, so half of it is wrong, but this is why.
So now I'm going to start calling them like little Brandon and little Tommy. So every time I call my clients, look out, it's going to be like little. So it'll be like little Sarah. Great. I do agree. And I think that your real estate agent should be bringing a lot of value on that front.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
What might differentiate to that's going to actually impact the buyer's perspective is going to be that person that negotiates and puts the contract structuring a deal that makes sense for you. I think the unseen parts of the industry are those like you're talking about where the agent's bringing side value and they're helping you understand more and more and more about what you're doing.
Yeah. So obviously being a buying agent and selling agent are two different, processes. So usually people say listings are a little bit harder to get, harder to come by. So would you say, being an agent for a listing is it harder?
I know exactly what I'm thinking here. Like I know exactly what I want to say. I appreciate the entire industry. There are certain places that we belong and certain places that we don't belong. And there are certain things that we want to do and certain things that we don't want to do. I fucking love representing buyers.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to know, it's very, very simple why. Because you are in control the entire time.
Yeah.
Like the only moment that a buyer doesn't have control is from the point at which they submit an offer to the seller and the point at which the seller counters back.
Yeah.
But from that point forward, under contract, timelines, executions, home inspections, dates, what's happening in the buyer's mind? Are they thinking about terminating? Are they going to continue? It's all in our court. I love it.
Yeah.
And you're a seller's agent and you're like, hey, Mr. Buyer's agent, what did your buyer think of the home inspection? And they're like, it was good.
Yeah.
And then they send you a termination 2 days later. Like, what do you mean it was good? What happened? Why did we take the property off the market for you? What's going on? Now we have to go back to the market. We're stigmatized. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Listing is a game of skill. It's a game of statistics, data, and a lot of skill. It's a lot of fun. But once you actually get the buyer under contract, you have no control, like at all.
Do you think the amount of effort between listing agent overcomes the reward? Like, does the reward overcome the amount of effort, the amount of more effort you have to put in as a listing agent?
No.
Okay.
Because
got it.
it's more...
I feel like it's definitely more of an emotion, not emotional, more of a mental toll. Like it's more...
It's interesting that you say that. When you said emotional, I thought you were going to be like, it's more emotionally rewarding to represent a buyer. But now that you're saying like a mental toll,
Yeah.
it is. It's like it's more mentally difficult to represent a listing.
Yeah.
And it's more emotionally tasking to represent a buyer.
Right.
Which is funny because I love both sides of it. But the truest value to me is helping a buyer move forward.
Yeah.
So when we represent a seller and we have the opportunity to get their equity and put their equity to work in their new home and grow their equity and move forward for their family, their kids, and whatever else that might look like, they're moving to the next step. And that's very rewarding.
Yeah.
When we represent a buyer and they're buying a property, it's very rewarding. When we represent a seller that's only selling, the reward is not there. Because, we get paid for our job, but there's no emotional like satisfaction.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
I don't know if I'm crazy, but I mean, listings are harder to get because there's more buyers in the market. I think that especially in today's market, there are a lot of people that have pulled back and there's a fear in the market.
Pulled back in buying.
No, in selling.
In selling. Okay.
Right. There's a lot of fear in the market for like the last 3, 4, 5 years. And of course, COVID didn't do anything good for that. But
I'm just wondering when we're going to stop using COVID as an excuse.
no, I mean,
I'm honestly fucking tired of it.
I'm about it. Like, you don't have to tell
are we
me
going to
twice.
say this 5 years later? Come on, guys.
You don't think that it's going to be like 2030 and people are going to be talking about like, oh, COVID.
I'm going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
going to just start pretending like I have
haven't-
no idea.
we haven't gotten to that point yet, but like, as it pertains to the real estate market, it threw a lot of things for a loop.
Yeah,
And it changed a lot of things. And then financially it changed a lot of things. And it created a lot of consternation that just created unrest.
Yeah.
And some people took the cash, took the equity and moved forward, and they love where they put themselves. And other people saw the equity rise and fall and rise and fall and rise and fall. And they're just so... they act with trepidation, so they're just not sure. I feel as though it's just a challenge to mentally work through with your sellers when you don't have that emotional reward on the other end. It's hard.
Yeah.
I think I said this earlier that listings are all about statistics and numbers and knowledge and market, where buyers are about support and emotion and, momentum, I guess would be the best way to put it. Maybe listings are about momentum. Maybe not. Thoughts?
You said listings are about momentum?
I don't know. Now I'm second guessing myself. I don't know. It's not on the notes.
I mean, I think being a buyer's agent is the best one.
It's hands down.
I think
the
like
fucking best.
listings are. I feel like they would be rewarding, but I don't know. It's a lot of pressure.
I have created some of the best relationships in my life representing buyers, and I have had people show me their true colors
During
representing listings. And
yeah, because it's so much pressure.
Disgusting.
It is. I feel like it
disgusting.
brings the worst out in people.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they just look at you like money. They're like, you are, like, you're my only
route.
You're my only route to gain. You're my only route to gain what I need.
Well, and the irony there is that.
So it's like they treat you like shit and expect you to sell their house. Like, you got to treat the people nice. Like, you don't bite the hand that feeds you.
The whole transaction is that the buyer chooses their buyer's agent 100% based on emotion. 100%. It's, do I like this person? Do I feel comfortable with them? Are they creepy? Are they weird? Do they have the track record of success? That's like way down on the list, right? Listing agent is chosen 100% on the opposite side. So 100% based on the track record of success, the skills, the abilities, and how the listing agent presents themselves. Then second is price. They're so focused on price. And I watch these sellers and I'm like, yeah, you're the one that chose to opt for price. No wonder, because the condition in which you maintain your home shows me that you opt for price. The people that are willing to spend the more money for the better quality are the ones that take care of their home. They put their home in a better position. And they're the ones that really understand the market. They don't understand the market, but they understand what's happening balance, and why there's a balance, right? It is, it's very tenuous for us to represent sellers that don't grasp what we do.
Yeah. I mean, we had a pretty much a listing appointment with one of my Boomtown leads, remember?
Geez. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were just like, at one point, you're like, get her off the phone.
No. Like honestly, in my head, that's what I'm thinking, because, in that particular case, that was just someone that was so unwilling to work together.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm constantly, and I remember having the conversation with her, and I'm like, okay, so you want this? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, all right, then we're going to represent you as a buyer's agent. And she's like, yes. And I was like, all right, so what do you want us to, earn in commission? And she's like, well, whatever the seller offers you. And I went, okay, perfect. So then you're going to offer what? And she goes, oh, I want to offer nothing, basically. And I went, I don't understand how you comprehend this. And if we're like that far apart mentally today, we're going to be that far apart when the buyer's agent offers $3,000 less than list.
Yeah.
Oh, negotiate them up. Like, that's not really how the world works. Like, geez.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's just tenuous. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I walked into my financial account or manager's office 2 weeks ago, and I said, hey. And she went, hey, so I know it's just, down a little right now. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I know. And she's like, well, let me show you all the reasons why. And I went, yeah, I mean, I don't really care. I'm not going to lie. Like, what am I going to do? And in my mind, the seller that does that to me, I love them.
Yeah.
Now, I respect everyone, and I understand that not everyone's going to be so like chill and relaxed when they're potentially losing out on opportunity. But to challenge the market and say, no dying on the podcast, by the way.
Sorry.
To challenge the market and say, my house is worth this. Well, the market's telling you that it's not. So like, do you want to argue with me, or do you want to like look at some numbers and figure out what your house might be worth?
Yeah. We as agents are not the market, guys. Like, we're just the translator.
Yeah.
Like, do not shoot the messenger.
Yeah. Especially when things change as dramatically as they have in the last 3 weeks. We have a listing that went on the market. Buyer decided they wanted to offer a crazy number. They offered a crazy number. They went under contract, and then they terminated the offer. And they have every right to do so. Like, what are we going to do? So they had every right to terminate the offer. Now we're back in the market. It's very, very different today. And we probably are looking at a little bit of a sour spot on the price. The question for the seller becomes, can we help him by supporting him in other ways? Whether it's move out date or expectations at settlement, like, there's just a lot of negotiable factors that now we can target. So construction of the offer, then negotiable factors. And then, I mean, you also manage the timeline, the expectations, the affiliates you mentioned. There's a lot of things that we do, but they're not unique or special. So why waste your time talking about it?
People like to talk.
I mean, people like to talk, but like, okay, so
that's why we have a podcast.
Yeah, if you guys want to read our blog, it's really awesome. So like, Liv's seller responsibilities, I love it. Determine a sales price based on a current market analysis, which also should be thrown out there that the CMA should have comps as well as comparables, which are both comps, and then they're both confusing because one is comparable home sales and one is competition in the market. So like, depending on how you look at it, stage the home, declutter, depersonalize, deep clean, coordinate your photographer for professional photography, emphasis on professional, sign, lockbox. Oh, by the way, like, what lockbox does your agent use? Is it a $5 lockbox from Home Depot, or is it a $155 lockbox that protects you throughout the transaction? And your agent should be talking to you about that, right? Marketing the home, digital, online, perfect listing, the standards, the expectations, Zillow, Facebook, like every market that you can get. And then also, like, what about in real life? What about postcards, door knocking, open houses? Yeah, and we're not even halfway through the list.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, do you have to tell people that you're going to have an open house?
I think it brings value to the conversation. I don't think it doesn't.
I don't disagree with you. I think the question that I would ask is, what are you doing differently? Not what are you doing, but what are you doing differently?
I think we do our things differently.
I mean, I agree, but can you accentuate that, Noah?
I think the effort that we put into everything we do is a little bit more, because our standard of practice is a higher quality than I won't say most teams, than your average team.
I can agree with that. And I think that the approach that we take is the one that's like, what's going to stick?
Right.
If we're going to spend the time marketing and we're not just going to sit here and passively put the house out to the world,
right?
What are we going to do that's going to actually stick? Like, everybody puts out, Sammy's at open houses. Can we put out peanut butter and jelly? Like, is that going to be the one that's different? Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. Like, it's weird.
If I walked into an open house and they had some PB&J, I'd be like, you guys,
but like,
got to go on.
What if you had a disco light? What if you had a,
Yeah.
The wacky inflatable tube man in front of your open house. Like
Yeah.
something to remember so that buyer that's going from open house to open house to open house to open house is acknowledging that you are different. So that you, the agent that's representing the seller, have the opportunity to connect with that buyer.
Yeah.
Whether this is the right house, the wrong house, or the indifferent house for them, you're the one that's going to connect with them as compared to Tom, who's in a full suit, 5 doors down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think everyone does the same thing. We're all putting out the same product.
Yeah.
Who is actively marketing, who is actively working with their clients, who's educating their clients both on the buy and the sale.
Yeah.
That's the difference to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about the vibe you bring.
Our vibe is our tribe. All right. So I'm curious if you had to throw like, 3, 5, 3?
5.
5. All right. So 5 things that would make you bomb as fuck as a buyer's agent. And then 5 things that would make you bomb as fuck as a listing agent. And I'm writing them down. No, I'm not because I don't have a pen. Liv, do you have a pen?
I have a marker.
A marker? Let's go. Oh, you had an extra 10 seconds to think about it.
What was it?
Listing agent, buyer's agent.
What would make me bomb as fuck? That's
Yes.
not on the list.
No, just anything.
Not dying.
Not
Number-
dying would be
number
good.
one.
Okay. Got it. Don't die.
No. I'm gonna say like things that help the the transaction, or the things that make the transaction enjoyable.
Make you bomb as fuck.
Okay. I'm gonna make you laugh. I'm a very comedic person. I like to make people smile. I think overall personality,
Is
good
that buyer's
vibe.
agent or listing agent?
I would say both. Both of them. But you can put it for one if you want. It's going to be hard to think. These are 10 things. Can we change it to 3?
Nope, you said 5.
Fuck. I'll bring you cookies from my
Yo, we're not
my
even
other
putting
bus-
that down.
my other business.
Oh my God.
I
I'm
have
going to
you.
throw one because we said it just a second ago. We're going to go with the mega open house.
Oh, of course. But
Well, I
see,
mean, you
that's
say
what
of
I'm
course, but you have to
See, but that's what I'm
accentuate it.
saying. Our standard is other people's best.
That's what we got to tell people. So if our standard is to have a vibe and laughter and straight enjoy your experience.
So buyer flow of communication throughout the entire process, pretty much every day. If you're an active buyer and I see you looking at your portal every day, I will be texting you every single day saying hey, did you see something new that came up, or just kind of reiterating your criteria to see if we need to adjust anything, or if we've gone on showings, kind of talking about the showings and seeing how we can improve to
Love.
better the next one. Buying. I would say I try to be as flexible as possible for my buyers. I know that people have schedules, and my schedule is meant to be for my clients. So I've learned to be flexible for them, and making the process less stressful is, going when they're available, and making that work for them. So I think flexibility is one.
So the fun way that I say that is we have the flexibility of taking time off. So we also have the flexibility of taking time on for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we need off on a Tuesday because we just need a personal day, but then you need to see houses Tuesday night, bet, let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
It's working. No dying.
Yep.
Well, she said that communication with lender and title falls under communication through the process.
I would say having the amount of resources we do. Being a bilingual agent, I have multiple different resources when it comes to lending. I haven't found a Spanish-speaking title company.
Oh, I know that. I have one. Easy breezy. Buyer's agent, listing agent. Buyer's agent, listing agent. Resources.
Listing, we have probably 50 signs we put out.
That's the mega open house. So the mega open house, we're dropping 50 signs. We're doing a legit,
Yeah.
community event where people know. I mean, the last mega open house I had, I think we started at 12. I showed up at 11. Someone walked in the door at 11:40. I finished at 2, and I didn't leave the open house until 3:15.
Yeah.
Because there were so many people there. Because we made it aware to the community. YOLO fam.
I think
yeah, but that's cheating.
It's a resource. You said a resource.
Yeah, I know, but we put resources down under buyer's agent. I'm gonna say from the listing side, we're gonna pull that one in, and we're gonna say like creativity. So we do have the photographer. We do.
It's
have
like the standard practice of the listing is putting, just like you said, the type of lockbox that we use allows us to keep track of who enters the property, and it lets us follow up with that specific agent of, hey, what was the interest on that property? What could have been better? What did they think? So that type of resource, like the lockbox, allows us to kind of dive deeper into possibilities for buyers for listings.
I threw follow up under the listings. We're doing well. Like, we're talking kind of in circles, but we've got 8 out of the 10.
Okay, cool.
God bless. It's so painful.
It's not like it's my job or anything.
Number one thing, like the last thing that would make you like, who would you love to represent in real estate if you had to pick anyone in the world, alive or dead?
Anyone in the world?
Yo.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot of pressure. J-Lo.
J-Lo. Lit. If you were to be like talking to J-Lo right now and you're like, J-Lo, I want to be your buyer's agent, and here's the number one reason why I'm different.
I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. Because I'm a great person. Hey, it's hard to come by good people. Was that?
La, la,
what is
la.
that?
La,
Did you add that for October?
No, come on. Number one reason somebody should choose me for their buyer's agent.
I would say because I always put their best interest first. I can't even read that.
I wrote down knowledge, both myself and my team.
Hey, look.
Lit.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the biggest value, especially as we're going through the market that we're in today. We want to make sure that we protect our clients, and I think it's kind of cheesy to kind of write these. I think we could do better if we had more time, but the knowledge that you have is such a big resource. We used to be the keeper of all the listings, and they had to come to us to get the listings. Now they don't need that. So why would they choose you? Well, because you're a knowledge broker, not because you're the real estate agent.
right.
On the listing side, last thing, why would someone choose us for listing? Why would someone choose us for listing? Oh God, we already used resources. Why would someone choose us for listing? In a weird way. I want to use knowledge, but I want to say it differently. It's like the
No, you can't do that.
Well, I know, but I'm trying to like formulate a thought. Why would someone choose us for listing? It would be because
You see how it's hard because our standard of practice is everyone's.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you want to say something more, but you're like, we already do everything.
I know, but it's also like the way that we frame it, right? So what's coming at me is the resources that we have and the skills that we have and the knowledge that we have and the activity that we're in the market and engaged. And it's not like you're getting a single person, you're getting a whole team.
Yeah.
And where people feel like they're losing because they're not having that one representative, not calling any one person out, but there's certain people that put their face on their sign and they're the big agent in town. And people like want him. I'm like, you're not going to get him.
And then you get like Sally. And you're like,
right.
What the fuck is that? Who are you?
But like he's your person.
Yeah.
And I get that, right? Like you want to have Andrea, you want to have me, you want to have Christian, but like the value of the wholesome team, I think is real value.
So I would say our culture, the culture of the team.
I love it. Whole team culture. Yeah, I mean, so just like running it back, reasons people would hire Andrea as a, as a buyer's agent, your vibe, and you're just going to like straight enjoy the process. Your flow and communication with both the team as well as lender and title, your flexibility to be available for them when they're available and not only when you're available, the resources that you have in both affiliates as well as your support, and the knowledge that you have both of yourself and the team to help them accomplish their goal. On the listing side, we're going back to the vibe. I've identified with that. I get it. You like me, and that's what we talked about earlier in the show. Like, why would somebody choose to hire you? The second thing was the mega open house, which is a whole thing. If you guys don't already know about mega open houses, we'll talk about that later. The active creativity as compared to passive marketing. We'll talk about that when you're selling your home. The follow-up, and the follow-through. I like that.
You just added that on the whim. So witty.
Follow up and follow through. And then the fifth thing was the whole team culture, kind of that idea that you're hiring me, but then you're also getting the support and the value of the whole team. I like it.
That's going to be my next Instagram caption.
Yeah.
Follow up and follow through.
Follow up and follow through. All right. So in the next 2 weeks, you guys are going to hear a lot about lending and title. We wanted to do this little mini series so that you guys could learn a little bit more. And as always, you can always reach out to us at MichaelFrank _ on Instagram, or at Frank Oliver Co. on TikTok at www.frankoliverco.com. I don't know why I didn't think of that. And you can always hit me on Facebook, Instagram, everything else.
Hey guys, you can reach me on TikTok and Instagram at Andrea _ Soto. Also by email, Andrea at frankoliverco.com, and via text at 443-668-7776.
Love it. Love it. We'll talk to you guys real soon. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Bye guys.